everybody, thanks for tuning back into Otram's YouTube channel. Today we've got a 2016 Hyundai Accent in that we're going to do an oil change on. Before we get started, wanted to remind you to please like and subscribe if you find this useful. And if you'd like to help support the channel, check out our membership page that's down in the links below. But yeah, let's get started. So the first thing that I always like to do before I do an oil change is to actually check the oil level of what's in there. With modern vehicles, a lot of them are burning oil, and you want to make sure you're staying on top of the oil level. And on this one, there's the full mark. So we're about, halfway down the stick. So this one's not bad. We're seeing a lot come in with nothing on the stick. So just something to be aware of. If you know how much is in there before you start, you can keep track of it. And keep a record of how much you're losing between changes and keep it filled because you don't want to run out of oil. So let me get this up in the air and we'll go underneath. And this one's really handy. The drain plug is just right here on the front of the oil pan, and it's a 17 millimeter socket. So we'll loosen that up most of the way, and not totally necessary, but this drain plug remover from OTC makes this nice, because you can pull the drain plug out without getting oil all over your fingers. So we're gonna let that drain. I'm gonna go get a new drain plug gasket because you always want to change the drain plug gasket while you're doing this, and we'll come back in just a second. Okay, so this is down to just a low trickle. So we're gonna wipe that off just to be doubly sure that there's not still a drain plug gasket on there, because that's very common. And then we've got our new drain plug gasket. Slip that on a drain plug. Thread this in. And then these get torqued to 29 foot-pounds. There we go. And we'll rinse this off so that when we start it up later, we can make sure there's no leaks. Let me reposition you and we'll do the filter. That's right up here. And then our oil filter's right here. We're just gonna use a universal oil filter wrench. Loosen that up. And then let that drip for a bit so we don't make a huge mess taking it off. And then we can go ahead and thread it the rest of the way off. And I'm gonna, do a little wipe down. And same thing, you wanna make sure that the old oil filter gasket did not stay stuck to the engine. And then I grabbed some fresh oil, and I'm just gonna put a light film of oil around the gasket here. And thread that on. About as tight as you can get it by hand. And then same thing, we're gonna rinse off all around it, because after we fill it up, we're gonna start it and run it for a few minutes and then check for leaks. And on these, we like to use the factory oil filters because I've heard a lot of stories about Hyundai and Kia refusing engine warranties for having non-factory filters on them. So cheap insurance, we just use the factory filters. Get that cleaned up. And now we're ready to start filling this back up, so we can take our oil fill cap out of here. And not absolutely necessary, but I like using a spill-free funnel. So we're going to screw the adapter in and then plug our funnel in. And then we're going to put 3.8 quarts of 5W20 in here. And then we'll give that a second to drain down to the oil pan. And you'll see we're a hair over the full mark, which once we start the engine and fill the oil filter back up, that'll put us right at the full mark where we need to be. So yeah, that is a oil change on a 2016 Hyundai Accent. I'm gonna, off camera, I'm gonna fire this up, let it run for a few minutes, put it up in the air, recheck for leaks to make sure everything's good, and then recheck the oil level to make sure that we are indeed on the full mark. But then we'll be all set. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe. I'll catch you next time. Thanks.